We're going to call for nominations for the chair. The previous one-year term is now expired. So could I have first call for nominations for the chair of MPC?
I'd like to nominate Tom Eichert for chair.
Okay. Could I have second call for nominations for chair?
I'll nominate Scott Clausen.
Is accept.
Okay. Third and final call for chair of MPC? Okay. We'll call the nominations to a close. Do the nominees accept the nominations?
I'll decline. I appreciate it, and I've learned a lot here, but I'd like to sit back and be able to do a more thorough job and be the chair.
Okay.
I'll accept the nomination.
Perfect.
Does that mean you won't wave your arms around every council?
Nope, that has got nothing to do with anything.
As long as he doesn't, promises not to wave his arms.
So I'll make a resolution, or the resolution should be that Tom Eichert is now the chair of MPC. Could get someone to make that motion and.
I think he's just acclaimed.
Okay. All in favor? Okay, carried. So at this point, the MPC chair Eichert will now take over the meeting. Thank you.
Morning, everybody. Thank you very much. It's finally fun to win an election. I guess there's nominations for a vice chair. They're now open, so
Call for it once.
I will call for it once.
I'll nominate Donna Bigger.
Donna has been nominated. Any other nominations? Going twice? Going three times?
Better accept, Donna.
Donna, will you accept the nomination?
I will.
Donna is the vice chair. Sorry, here I got notes.
Regretting the decision already.
Yeah. Okay, so these meetings are maybe recorded and maybe posted on the website or social media. So off to the races. So I guess we have an agenda in front of us. So are there any additions or deletions? And if not, can I get somebody to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Can I call counselor?
No.
No.
Oh.
MPC member.
MPC member. Link.
You're really formal.
Made the motion. See, can I see hands?
All in favor?
All in favor. That's the word I'm looking for. Okay. Can I get adoption of the minutes?
So moved.
There's a couple typographical issues that I could just send to administration. But
Nothing serious?
no, nothing serious.
Okay. Jason moves the minutes.
But she gets MPC member and I don't?
Yeah. Well, I was told I don't have to be that formal. See how fast I learn? Just like that. Just like that. So
Responsive to feedback.
Can we, all in favor of adopting whatever we're doing here? Yeah, sorry. Okay. That's going to be a learning experience. I've been here for 2 years. You notice I've never paid any attention to anything. It's always been about me. So.
You're the chair. I gotta leave at noon, so.
Okay. So first on the listed development, DP 2019-139. Your hands.
Good morning. Can we have the screen, please? Thank you. So this development permit is for a home-based business type 3. It is located at Northwest 2424, about 3 miles northeast of Strathmore. It's a 9.3 acre ag general parcel. So the applicants are proposing to renew their expired development permit in order to continue their business for motorcycle parts and service shop. There are no changes to the development permit application. But the applicant did not apply prior to their expiry date, so it then goes to MPC for decision. A home-based business type 3 has different categories, and because it has an accessory building, that's what bumps it into category 3. So we are applying for HBB 3. As we did some circulations to adjacent neighbors within 1 mile and to internal staff. We didn't have any concerns. We didn't circulate to any external agencies, so there were no concerns that came forward. So staff is recommending option 3 of the 3 standard options we usually propose, which is approval, refusal, or an alternative recommendation. So we're recommending approval. Standard conditions, I'll just point out that the permit will be issued for a 2-year term expiring November 19th, 2021. So here is our location plan. We're northeast of Strathmore, inside the CMRB area, but no review required. There's an aerial photo of the parcel. This is the site plan. That's their parking area. This is the Quonset where the business takes place. That was our circulation area within a mile. Just some photos that were of the shop when it was under the original permit. And there's the Quonset. And that is everything. Thank you.
MPC's wishes?
Just clarification, staff is asking for option 3, is that what you said?
I'm sorry, staff is asking for option 1
Okay.
to
Sorry,
approve.
I misheard.
Sorry, I should have said that
Yeah.
more clearly.
Okay, I'll make the motion that MPC approve DP 2019-139 for home-based business type 3 subject to the conditions noted in Appendix A of the development permit report.
That was motion made by Mr. Clausen. Any concerns? Any? Then I'll put it to vote.
All in favor?
All in favor, yes, yes. Sorry.
Carried.
So that vote is carried. That motion, so file DP 2019-145.
So this is for a changeable content sign. It is at Plan 8210745, Block 1, Lot 2, which is in the hamlet of Carsland on a community service parcel. So the changeable content sign is proposed for use by the Carsland Lions Club to put up information such as community events, outdoor temperature, and time. The parcel that has been chosen is the site occupied by the Carsland Fire Hall. The location of the sign has been selected so as not to interfere with the vehicle path of the fire apparatus. It's going to be 12 feet at the bottom of the sign, 16 feet at the top, so it's a 4x9 sign. Signs requiring a development permit is discretionary use in community service, so it needed to come to MPC for decision. We did circulate to adjacent neighbors +1, internal file review, and agency we did receive 1 response with concerns to the placement of the sign. So they were concerned that it was going to be facing north towards their property and would shine in their window. I did clarify with the applicant after that, and they confirmed that, no, it's two-sided, it's going to face east-west so that it would be seen by people traveling along Railway Avenue. So I told the concerned neighbor that information, and they said they were okay with it if that's the case. So the same three options as we have pretty much on every permit is approval, refusal, or an alternative. Staff are recommending option 1 to approve the sign for changeable content. One condition that I wanted to point out was that number 4, the sign shall not display at an angle, luminosity, intensity, or interval which creates a public hazard or nuisance. So I guess if there was concerns with it being too bright or something, these signs are able to be dimmed. The luminosity can be dimmed. So we have that option if that is what comes forward. So here is the site of the Carsland Fire Hall. The sign is proposed for this location, about 21 feet to the property line. That was, from this illustration, you could see why the neighbor was kind of not knowing which way it was going to point, but it's pointing east-west. That is the CMRB area. It's outside of area structure plans. This was the concerned resident here. And that was their letter of concern. That's everything. Thank you.
Thank you. MPC's wishes.
Through the chair. MPC member Eichert.
Yes.
There is in the audience today is a member of the Lions Club, Mr. Dennis Poffenroth, and a gentleman that is with LED signs, if you wish to, or if MPC wishes to speak to them. Just wanted to let you know.
I would believe that would have to be brought forward on a vote and as a motion, and then we would vote on whether or not we want to hear any outside information.
I'll give that motion.
We'll give that motion.
I would just say if we have any concerns regarding the sign, perhaps we have them up.
Okay.
If there's not, there's no need to have them discussed, in my opinion.
Okay.
The only question I have, it's not basically about the sign, but the use of that area, because I know that hall is currently fire hall now, and we are looking at putting a new hall in at some point in the future. So where is that sign on our property? And if so, if there's a change of use with the hall, would that be a problem in the future? That's my only concern. I don't know if we can answer that.
Looks like it's pretty movable.
Oh, yeah, I would say it's very movable, and it's at the very corner of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be.
Through the chair, the applicants did enter into a lease agreement because it is on county land. So I don't know the particulars of what's in the lease agreement, but I suspect it would be covered in that.
Fair enough.
Thank you. MPC's wishes.
I move that DP 2019-145 be approved as stated.
Concerns or comments? Seeing none, call the vote. All in favor? Carried. DP file 2019-146.
This is in the northwest 72321, about 9.5 miles northeast of Gleason. It's a 20-acre ag general parcel, and the proposal is for a dwelling accessory, which is 1,088 square feet. There is an existing single-family dwelling already on the parcel. The proposed dwelling meets all the criteria of the bylaw. It does meet the A277 requirement. Circulation was completed to WID, internal file review, and adjacent neighbors within a mile. We didn't receive any responses, no negative comments. So staff are proposing the standard 3 options, and we are recommending that MPC approve DP 2019-146, subject to conditions noted in Appendix A, which are standard. There's nothing out of the ordinary there. There's a location northeast of Gleason. There's an aerial of the proposed site. These are the site plans which were submitted. There's the proposed house there. And it is outside of the CMRB and ASPs. There was our circulation area. These are the 2 dwellings, the primary and the proposed, which are kind of similar in their color and appearance. So staff have no concerns. That's everything. Thank you.
Thank you. MPC's wishes.
I'll move that MPC choose option 1 to approve DP application 2019-146 with the conditions noted in Appendix A of the DP report.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Any concerns or comments? Seeing no concerns or comments, I will call the vote. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. DP 2019-149.
And this is for HBB3 for the construction of vehicle accessories. The location is the Southwest 22425. It's 1.3 kilometers south of Strathmore on a 158-acre ag general parcel. So this, I guess this needs to be on. This is the parcel that was formerly the Western feedlot, and the proposed, it's decommissioned feedlot now. So the application is to utilize an existing Quonset for a business to construct vehicle accessories. So the work is contained to the interior of the shop. There is an outdoor storage area for vehicles and metal, and the applicants want to use an existing fence that was there when the feedlot was operating, and they intend to straighten it, replace any boards, and spruce it up a bit and add some fencing as well. So the one thing with this application is the business owner doesn't reside on the property. They own the property and they rent out the 2 dwellings on there, and they rent out this Quonset to this business owner. So under our accessory or our home-based business type 3, it does stipulate that the applicant must own the residence for which the permit has been issued. For this reason, staff are doing a bit of a different recommendation, but I'll go through our circulation comments first. So we did circulate to Alberta Transportation, and they said a roadside development permit should be obtained, which it was. Town of Strathmore had no concerns. NRCB, we didn't hear back from them, but we know that the feedlot is decommissioned. Internal file review had no concerns except for perhaps any forthcoming uses that are new. Maybe we need to look into any issues that might be forthcoming regarding environmental issues on the property. We circulated to neighbors within 1 mile and we didn't receive any responses. So we have our standard 3 options, and we are recommending option 1 for approval, but we do have the stipulation that the applicant apply to have the parcel rezoned to a district more appropriate for the use. If the property is not rezoned prior to the expiry date, this permit will not be renewed. So we're only recommending a 1-year term on this. We are asking also that the screening fence be upgraded according to the details they provided, which I'll kind of spell out a little bit. So there we are, south of Strathmore. There's the lot, so it's way back from the highway. It's not very visible from the highway. This is their area, and this is their fenced area. This is their parking over here. It's in the CMRB. This was our circulation area. There's the existing Quonset. This is the wood fence. So what they said was that they were going to refurbish it, straighten it, add to it, spruce it up. And because they are quite far from the highway and it's only a 1-year term, we thought that they could get away with this fence for a year, and then if they apply for a more permanent permit later when they rezone, then they'll have to spruce it up a bit. So that is everything. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a question to staff, and then on that, the part that you highlighted on 813 general regulations, number C, should administration, because having a piece of property, having a building leased on a farm site would not be outrageous, like that would not be an uncommon occurrence. So I'm just wondering if there should be just something that if you're leasing the property, that there should be just a rule of regulation just to standardize it, just.
Upon a lease agreement, maybe? That it's
Yeah,
allowed.
like I'm just wondering, instead of like, and then if it's instead of C, there'd be like 2 or 3 more things that, or whatever needs to be required, like you say, a signed lease or whatever the case may be. I'm just thinking
Maybe we could bring it back to planning and priorities for discussion.
Can we bring that back to planning and priorities for discussion? Well, okay,
Yes.
Having said that then.
I think it's good to talk about.
Yeah.
Council will need to look at.
Yeah.
If there's no other questions, I can move the recommendation.
Okay. Mr. Wilson has moved. Call the vote. All in favor?
For accepting this?
All in favor for accepting
approving.
this. Yes. Perfect conditions. That is carried. DP 2019-151.
So this application is at the northeast 2424, 2.6 miles east of Strathmore. So really just west of the county office here on the number 1. It's an 8.95 acre ag general parcel. It is for a greenhouse public. It's a 5,388 square foot greenhouse type structure. It's not like a typical greenhouse would look. To be constructed as an environment for growing microgreens and sprouted cereal grains. So it would be limited to the growing of crops, harvesting and placing the crops in shipping totes, so no processing will occur on site. The sprouted grains are to be sold to neighboring farmers for use in beef cattle rations, and the microgreens will be sold to distribution partners for sale and delivery to local restaurants and food retail locations. Now it will share an existing artesian well with the shrimp farm, which is currently operating on site. They're going to use a recirculating irrigation system, so water requirements are limited to replacing water lost through plant growth and evaporation. No, there's no outdoor storage required for this business. It is in the Eagle Lake Area Structure Plan on the most northern boundary of it. So in the ASP, it just says that discretionary uses that could adversely affect the natural environment of Eagle Lake should not be permitted. So staff do not feel this will adversely affect Eagle Lake, and that it is an agricultural activity, so we don't have any issue with the conformance to the ASP. We did circulate to Alberta Environment and Parks, and they did say that the proposal would require a commercial water license. So the applicant contacted them right away, and they realized that they also needed one for the shrimp farm, which originally they didn't think they needed, but they did. So they have a retroactive licensing for the shrimp farm and as well as this greenhouse. In our internal file review, the environmental coordinator did bring up the part about the commercial water licensing, so that was kind of handled. The planner did ask questions about, do we need a stormwater management plan? And we had discussed it with the team and thought at the because they do propose more uses. So we just said at the next use, they're going to need to do a stormwater management plan and probably some landscaping. So we made the applicant aware of that. We have our 3 standard options, and staff are recommending approval of DP 2019-151, subject to the conditions noted. The only one that is kind of out of the ordinary was prior to construction and occupancy, the landowner shall submit to the county documentation confirming the applicable water license has been obtained and is maintained for the development. There we are. It's just west of the county office. There is their proposed location. This is the shrimp farm here. This is a pond. They do propose some other uses, so that's why we're thinking things will be triggered upon the next application. Within the CMRB, within the ASP, there was our circulation radius. These are just some photos of what a cereal grain crop and a microgreen, mustard microgreen crop looks like. Building is kind of unusual for a greenhouse. It looks like this on the interior. And that's one of their other locations. So they took this photo prior to the one wall being put on. That's everything. Thank you.
Thank you. MPC's wishes?
I'll move that MPC approve development permit application DP 2019-151 with the conditions noted in Appendix A of the development permit report.
Motion is, or, thank you, Amber. We have a motion in front of us. All in favor? That's carried. Okay, I guess we're down to file 2019-152.
Application Northeast 22, 25, 25, 8.25 kilometers north of Strathmore. It's a 12-acre ag general parcel. So they recently applied to build a new 1,950 square foot single family dwelling. There is an existing 1,350 square foot single family dwelling on the property. So to have two on this one property, one of them has to become a dwelling accessory. And that was a condition on their permit for their new single family dwelling. So they are applying for that. And this, there's really no issues with this proposal from staff's perspective. We circulated to the WID, CN Rail, because they were in proximity, no concerns. Alberta Transportation had them get a roadside development permit for their primary dwelling, but they didn't need one for this one because it was existing. There was no concerns from staff or adjacent neighbors. So staff are proposing 3 possible options, which are standard. And we are recommending that MPC approve 2019-152, subject to the conditions in the development permit report, which are pretty standard. There's the location north of Strathmore. There's the site plan with this. This is the primary one that they just got a permit for. This is the existing that will be the dwelling accessory. They operate an apiary farm there, a bee farm, so there's lots of hives. And they are outside of the CMRB and any ASPs. Here's was our circulation radius, and that is the proposed dwelling accessory. That's everything. Thank you.
Thank you. MPC's wishes.
I make a motion to approve DP 2019-152 for a dwelling accessory subject to conditions noted in Appendix A.
Thank you, Mr. Clausen. Any comments or concerns? Seeing none, I call the vote. All in favor? Carried. That leads us down to DP 2019-157.
This application is for contractor services. It's at the Southeast 272326, which is 2.3 miles south of Cheadle, off of Glenmore Trail. It's a 9.85 acre parcel, which is zoned rural business. So the applicants were first issued a permit for a secondary use business in 2014 for a 3-year term. When the business came up for renewal in 2017, staff advised the applicant that it had grown beyond the parameters of a home-based business, and one of the conditions of approval was that the parcel be rezoned to a district more appropriate for the use. So the applicants applied for their rezoning and it was approved by council in July of 2019. So now they've applied for a permanent permit for contractor services. Operations of the business include landscape design, construction, including fencing, decks, gazebos, ponds, and waterfalls. The applicants would like to expand and construct a 30 by 180 foot greenhouse to grow a larger quantity of plants and shrubs and perennials for the landscaping business. The back of the property includes a large fenced area that is used to store materials and equipment, trailers, trucks, bobcats, loam boulders, pavers, and other materials. The landscaping is currently conducted off-site at various job locations. The applicants are proposing hours to be 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. They say the season typically runs from April to November, depending on the weather. So the previous hours of operation on their secondary use business permit was 9 to 5 or 8 to 5. So the applicants have 2 water wells on the property. One is used for the dwelling and the second well is used to water the animals and for a small greenhouse that they currently have on site. They estimate they use about 10 to 14% of the capacity of the well right now. In August of this year, the county received unsightly complaints regarding this property due to a large amount of debris related to the business stored outside the fenced storage area. The complaint also involved other issues that were unrelated to the business, which is under the jurisdiction of the county peace officers. I've been working with Peace Officer Kerwin, which is why he's here today. The applicants have been working with peace officers and myself to remedy the issues. So they have been working on cleanup of the site. We did circulate to Alberta Environment and Parks, who said a water license would be required if they were to do this extra greenhouse. Internal file review, there was some concerns about trucks turning into their gate and being stacked, backing up onto Glenmore Trail. And when Peace Officer Kerwin and I were there, the gate was closed and we had to park there in the gate area and we were sticking out. So I can understand that. We have had 4 letters of concern with multiple signatures, and we did also receive a letter from the applicant, as I had given them a chance to address some of the letters of concern that we had. So I think you guys all have that. I think it was emailed to you as well. So staff are proposing in this case 4 options. Option 1 is that the application be approved but without the additional greenhouse. Option number 2 is that the application be approved as presented, as applied for. Number 3, to refuse it altogether. And number 4 is you can decide another option for yourselves. So staff are recommending option 1, to approve it without approving the additional greenhouse, subject to conditions noted in Appendix A. So Appendix A, condition number 2, we're saying no new buildings or structures are permitted. We are saying all materials related to the business, such as stockpiles of soil, rocks, or other items, must be delivered to and stored in an area behind the fence screened area of the property and shall not exceed the height of the screening fence. Soils or other landscaping materials stored on site shall not contain contaminants. Applicant to ensure there is adequate stacking space between the entrance gate and the edge of the pavement on Township Road 234 to avoid vehicles from extending onto oncoming traffic in the driving lanes. Applicants to ensure changes and improvements to the approach are developed to county standards. Applicants to submit a waste management plan to the reasonable satisfaction of Wheatland County to alleviate business-related debris from blowing onto neighboring properties. Business to remain consistent with the application and letter of intent. Business-related equipment may not operate on-site later than 7 p.m. and the business permit to be issued for a 1-year term only, expiring November 19th, 2020, just to see if they can continue with their cleanup efforts of the site and before we issue a permanent permit. And then I did also provide options for, or conditions for option 2. And this one, we are allowing the other greenhouse. we've got all these ones for mitigating the waste and the debris on site, but I've added also that the landowner to submit to the county documentation the applicable water license has been obtained and is maintained for the development, again for a 1-year term. Excuse me. So there's our location, southwest of Cheadle. These are just some pictures, you know, since their first kind of approval, and then 2018, this photo. This is their screening fence. It's actually quite a nice type of fence. So here's their approach onto Glenmore. This is where they're proposing the new greenhouse at the back here. It's within the CMRB, outside of the ASPs. Excuse me. So here's all the locations of the people that had concerns and had submitted letters. Here's their gate. This is where Police Officer Kerwin and I were parked one behind the other, and it was pretty tight there. This is inside their property looking north. And this is their screening fence, but a lot of these materials are outside their screening fence, they say, due to some situations that happened this year where they got a lot of materials in a short time and they haven't had time to put them back behind the screening fence. So that's what a lot of these photos are. And then inside the screening fence, this is what it looks like. So it maybe needs to be reorganized so they can put the other materials back there. These areas they did clean up. They have been doing work. And Peace Officer Curran has been out there several times and said that they have done some work. So and the rest are the letters of concern that I received. And that's everything. Thank you.
Thank you. I've got just a couple of questions. Like, what is entailed with getting a water license?
I suspect you have to fill out an application and deal with Alberta Environment. And I don't know exactly what the whole process is, to be honest.
So each license would be separate, like you'd estimate how much water you're going to be taking, and then they would decide whether or not. Okay. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's all
Mr.
right.
Clausen? Okay, and the other question is, I'm really concerned about the backing of the semis onto Glenmore Trail, backing them into the site. Now, is there any way that they can reconfigure their property so that they can, number one, set their gates further back so they get off of the road, and number two, that they can turn the semi-trailer units around in the yard? Because I've seen that operation, and it is, you know, people aren't paying attention. Somebody's going to get hurt.
So we did consult with Public Works, and this is the condition that they recommended about number 8, applicant to ensure there's adequate stacking space. They didn't specify how they had to ensure there was adequate stacking space or turnarounds. So if we want to be more specific in the condition, we could do that. We had talked about perhaps having them move the gate further into the property. So I don't know if we want to reword the condition and make it very specific of what they have to do.
So I will move option number 1, because I really like the way it's, and with the 1 year, that it comes back to us in a year, and we can see what kind of progress they're making. They've been doing the place is way cleaner now than it was 6 months ago, so administration's been really good at helping them see what the problems is. And if they can address these, the one I'm most worried about is this, how close the road is and the gate is. That's the one I'm really worried about. But I will move option number 1, and it's a 1 year permit, and it will be revisited. So I will move option number 1. Yes, Donna.
What option are you moving?
Okay. So, sorry.
I'm kidding.
There we go.
Don't repeat yourself again.
Option, in option 1, in Appendix A, it says that they can't have any equipment after 7 p.m. Even in a rural or in an urban, you can cut your grass after 7. I think lots of times for a landscape job, you have to load your stuff at night and then go out in the morning. I think 9 o'clock would be a more reasonable time. This is a rural, like they're out in the country, right?
There's a neighbor right beside them, and there's a neighbor right across the street. They're in a pretty congested,
Are they?
yeah, like they're
When
within,
does combines go till?
Yeah, I really think the 7 isn't really.
combines are a one, maybe.
Do you feel my glare?
Like it can't be any worse than cutting your grass.
Or combine going ahead?
Like a
Well, you got a
Bobcat.
Bobcat going full bore,
you know, I
a
just
diesel, 80 horsepower diesel engine, not that quiet. Just saying.
You can't see it on my aerial photo, so I apologize, but the neighbor in question is like right here, right here. So,
Through the chair. To Donna's concern, it says business-related equipment. So if they're cutting grass, that's not going to affect that. This is strictly dealing with the business. So if they want to cut their grass there, there's not an
I
issue.
don't think cutting grass was the.
no, it was an example
Yeah.
that.
She's saying what's the difference between me cutting my grass and them doing work in there?
Yeah.
Myself, I don't feel that 9 o'clock is out of the question for that kind of thing. It's still within reason. I know if you're within a municipality and you're having, say for instance, Strathmore, and you're having construction done, or Calgary, I think it's 10 o'clock you're allowed to go till. No?
No.
Okay, I misspoke.
Except on weekends.
Yeah. Being that they are a landscaping company and things like that, I don't think 9's.
Are you making a friendly amendment?
I'd like to make a friendly amendment.
We have a friendly amendment, if I have this right, that on number 12 would be changed.
Do you accept that? It's your motion.
To 9 o'clock.
I would,
If not, we vote on the amendment.
yeah. So tough. I will accept that we move it till 9 o'clock. And if there's problems, I'm having your phone number. Yeah, I'll accept that as a friendly amendment.
And just to be clear, you're okay with how condition 8 is written? Like I prefer how it's written now. You don't want to prescribe how they meet
No,
that?
I do
Okay,
not want to get
perfect.
involved in how it gets,
Excellent.
just as long as that's met.
Okay, thank you.
And within a year, if it's not met, we.
Yeah, we can look at the
Right.
permit again.
Exactly right. So, any other comments or concerns? If not, I will call to vote that motion. All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're doing subdivision applications. And file number SD 2019-018.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just scooch
Morning,
down.
Megan.
Just scooch down to the maps for you. Okay, so this is the location of the proposed subdivision. So SD 2019-018. The purpose of the application is to subdivide Northwest 332326 and Northeast 332326 in order to create 3 titled parcels. Staff is recommending that the MPC choose option 1 to approve the subdivision application with the conditions noted in Appendix A. So let me see if there we go. Okay. So the Northwest 332326 west of the 4th is being subdivided to create 2 titles along the WID Canal, identified as Lot A and Lot B, and the tentative plan of subdivision, which you can see on the screen there. Northeast 332326 is also being subdivided to create 2 lots, C and D. Lots B and D on the south side will be consolidated into one parcel totaling 147 acres. This consolidation will provide access to the southern portion of the northeast quarter section. And then the property lines between lots A and C on the northern side will be adjusted. In total, there will be 3 new parcels formed. So the proposal aligns with the policies and objectives of the South Saskatchewan Regional Plan, Wheatland's Regional Growth Management Strategy, its Municipal Development Plan, and Land Use Bylaw. It's maintaining the agricultural land base and absolves the access issues for the southern half of the northeast quarter. The subdivision is exempt from providing municipal reserve as all parcels are greater than 16 hectares and are only being used for agricultural purposes. We didn't receive any comments from landowners. TELUS did provide a request for an easement and right-of-way to be registered over the parcel, and that was satisfied September 18th. So there aren't any proposed conditions that are out of the ordinary, that just the approaches for the proposed parcels and remainder are built and located, and that the landowner enter into 3 agreements with the county. There are 2 options for MPC's consideration: that they approve subdivision 2019-18 with the proposed conditions in Appendix A, or that they refuse it. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
It's drainage.
Just a question to staff. When I'm looking at this and the split between A, C, B, and D, there's looks like an alleyway running through there. Is that an irrigation canal? Because it looks like there's a creek running north. I was just wondering why it isn't a common boundary.
Through the chair, that is the WID canal, correct. The blue line, sometimes our mapping layers don't match up with the aerial, so that's why that blue line's a little helter-skelter.
So what's the blue line in there? Is that it?
It's supposed to be over where the WID canal is.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
That's okay. That's okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Council's wishes. Oh, MPC's wishes, sorry. I apologize.
I'll move approval of subdivision application SD 2019-018 with the conditions noted in Appendix A of the planning report.
Thank you, Amber. Any concerns or comments? Seeing none?
Well, in here it says that it's creating 3 titled parcels, but there's 4 in there. Is there?
They're
one already
amalgamating 2.
there?
No, they're amalgamating B.
B and D, they're amalgamating to create one parcel on the southern portion.
Because it would have been subdivided and then,
Oh, okay, I'm looking at,
Right.
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
that line coming through there, so. Seeing no concerns, I'll call the vote. All in favor? That is passed. Thank you. Subdivision 2019-020.
Okay, good morning. So this subdivision SD 2019-020 is to subdivide a 3-acre parcel for future residential development. You can see this the parcel, is accessed off of Highway 21, just northeast of Strathmore. So staff is recommending that MPC choose option 1 to approve the application with the conditions noted in Appendix A. The applicant applied earlier this year to redesignate the 10.91 acre parcel from agricultural general to country residential to prepare for the subdivision application. The bylaw obtained 3rd reading on August 20th, 2019, and now the applicant is looking to subdivide about 3 acres off the northern portion of the parcel in order to facilitate another residential development. And then you can see the proposed lines there. The proposal generally aligns with the county's statutory documents and the South Saskatchewan.
We're not a country yet. Give us time.
Really?
with the county's statutory document and the South Saskatchewan Regional Plan.
Sorry, you set me up. You can't expect to say that and then me not hit it out of the park.
The application has demonstrated another residential development on this quarter section wouldn't adversely affect groundwater supply, nor the existing wastewater disposal systems. It provides the appropriate mix of residential and agricultural land use with the WID canal on the east side of the subject parcel. It mitigates potential land use conflicts. If this application is approved, any further subdivision applications on this quarter section will require an area structure plan. After discussions between Public Works, Alberta Transportation, and the developer, it was agreed a joint approach between the remainder of the proposed parcel was the preferred approach type. Municipal reserve was taken on a previous subdivision and so cannot be requested again. We didn't receive any comments from adjacent landowners, and WID noted new developments will need to meet their minimum setback requirements of 30 meters from their right-of-way. And AHS noted that their water and wastewater systems should be within the proposed boundary. So there are two possible options for MPC's consideration. That subdivision application 2019-020 be approved with the conditions noted in Appendix A. And I'll just scooch up to those so you can see Condition 3 there has the requirement that a joint approach to the proposed remainder parcels be built and located to Alberta Transportation specifications and approved by Alberta Transportation. And then, of course, option 2 for MPC is that SD 2019-020 be refused. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
MPC's wishes?
I just have a concern on the number of approaches that could be within a short distance on a busy highway. They're removing this one here?
Yeah, and creating a joint.
Okay. Even with the WID ditches and, okay.
Through the chair, we can amend that conditions 3 so that it says that, just to clarify that approach is to be removed?
No, I just must have.
Okay.
And just for my information, who's responsible for keeping that service road clean? Is that the developers?
Through the chair, there is no service road now, and that was part of the discussions with Public Works. If there was a service road to be registered over the joint approach, okay, then it would fall to the county to maintain.
Understand. Okay.
I'll move approval of subdivision application SD 2019-020 with the conditions noted in Appendix A of the planning report.
Thank you, Ms. Link. Any concerns or comments? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor? That is passed. Thank you very much. Are there any other planning matters? If not, Mr. Kester calls for the adjournment. And with that, thank you. Wasn't that fun?
You'll get practice stuff. I'm not worried at all. I got the National Post article. I got the National Post article. I'll send it to you. No way.
No, I'm gonna laugh at this. So you think that we can